Today we're talking about what goes into making the process of buying or selling real estate go as smoothly as possible. Let's get into it. You want to be a good client for your realtor. Here's some key points to cover before you reach out to your realtor. Define what it is that you actually want. And whether you're buying or selling, I think a big part of it is if you set your goals and know where you're going and you have that motivation to go, that can make the process go so much smoother. If you're a buyer, know how much you want to spend, what features you want to look for. Also, being prepared up front will alleviate so much stress and pressure throughout the process. If you're a seller, know what it is that you want in your next home or why you're selling this home. Define that. Because if you're clear on where it is you're going, it makes it a lot easier to leave where you're at. What should a client prepare before they start working with a realtor? I think a big part of that is make a list of all your questions and ask. I think there's a lot of maybe fear and judgment on the client side. They don't want to come across as appearing to be, dumb or asking stupid questions. And so what happens is a lot of questions go unasked and unanswered. So if you have questions, ask them. A great realtor, they'll have answers. They'll be able to coach, guide you along. It'll just make the whole process so much smoother. So why is it important to be clear about your goals from the beginning? I think it just comes down to this. How do you know when you've gotten there if you don't know where you're going? And that just comes down to really defining what it is that you actually want. And sometimes it changes as the process goes along because for some buyers that are out shopping, they don't know what the home is that they're looking for until they see it. And a lot of times, they always say this, buyers are liars. And so the basis of that is that just because you think that you want something, you might see something else that's completely different and then completely change course. So as a realtor, I don't want to make preconceived judgments or decisions based on what you've told me at the start, because that might not be where we end up at the end. So how much information should a client share with their realtor in terms of finances, timelines, personal situation? I think it's always good for your agent to have a good understanding of where it is that you're coming with. And I think too many times the client doesn't share enough information, and then the realtor is giving advice based on incomplete or just not enough information. So make sure that your agent understands where it is that you're coming from, some issues that you're dealing with, why you're really moving. Sometimes the reason that we're given to why someone is moving is not the real reason. Making sure that your agent is clear with your situation helps a lot. Factors that can slow down the buying or selling process if you're not prepared. I think that on the buy side, probably the biggest factor that comes up most is going to be financing or finances. So have a clear, defined purchase price or budget before you ever start shopping. And on the selling side, it's make sure that your home is prepared properly. Do the work to make sure that the home is ready to go, or adjust the price accordingly. Sellers that don't properly prepare can end up delaying the selling process by days or weeks. And buyers that don't have their financing in order can lose the home of their dreams because of delays and challenges with that. So how can good communication between the client and the realtor make the process smoother? I think that it's absolutely critical to a smooth transaction to have some transparency and a clear line of communication, whether that's one-on-one phone calls, text messages, or emails. There's a time and a place for each of those. A lot of times we'll see agents or clients avoiding a difficult conversation and instead relying on a text or an email. I'll make the call. I want to hear your voice. I want to learn your understanding. Same thing with the agent on the other side. I want to be able to explain things. And a lot of times that just doesn't come through when we're using text or email. What should a client understand about trusting the process, especially when things don't go according to plan? Every real estate transaction is different. Some happen very quickly and some can drag out and go slowly. And as a client, I think you need to understand and be prepared for either of those situations. If you're going into a multiple offer situation as a buyer, you may have to make decisions very quickly in order to not lose out. At the same time, you may have to also be willing to slow things right down if you're dealing with a sale. It's an estate sale, there's multiple family members on the selling side, you're on the buying side, and you just have to be patient. If you're not patient, it can work against you. So there's so many factors that come into play where one strategy for one situation versus another strategy for another, and you really don't know until you're into it. So you need to have some versatility. I think you need to be open and understanding and be able to trust your agent's advice to deal with the situation in the best way possible. Even though it may not be the way that you think it should be dealt with, it might be the way that it needs or has to be dealt with. It really comes down to this. Being a great client means being prepared, being honest, being open to guidance, and being clear about what it is that you really want. If you want to talk about the process of buying or selling a home, a property, commercial or residential, reach out to me. I'm happy to talk. I'll answer those questions. Thanks again for watching.